Hey everybody, welcome. I'm going to switch over here. Let me know it is Sunday night, and we are just going to jump on here. We're going to have a discussion around different things when it comes to real estate. These are some things that most people might not kind of look into, especially when you are, just living your life and you just don't have a care in the world, a care in the world, right? You're just living your life. You don't know what is happening. So what I'm going to do, as usual, what I always do before we start the stream, if you guys are live with me tonight, please put in the comments where you are from, where you're tuning in from, who is live with me tonight, and also if you are watching the replay, don't forget to kind of comment inside the comments where you are tuning in from, and if you have any questions. Again, we're going to get into different topics tonight. We're going to talk about HOAs. We're going to talk about home insurance. We're going to talk about taxes. So different taxes, property taxes, inheritance tax, estate tax, and more. And then we're going to dive into probate. So if you guys don't know, I am a local realtor in the Metro Atlanta area. I am not a lawyer, nor am I an attorney, an estate attorney. I'm not a lawyer, sorry, an estate plan attorney, a probate attorney, or a home insurance agent, or a community association management company. However, these are just topics we're going to jump into. So I just want to make sure and check that we're live. If you guys, like I always do, all right, I just want to check if we're live, just to make sure. Again, if you're in the comments, please let me know where you're coming in from tonight. Let's have a conversation. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start this live stream off talking about homeowners associations. So if you guys, nowadays, a lot of new subdivisions are being built, and inside these new subdivisions, a lot of them have homeowner associations. And so if you guys don't know, this is a topic that I like to discuss with homeowners who live in those associations, those communities, I should say, that a homeowners association can also foreclose on your home. I'm not sure if people are aware of that. There are bylaws, covenants, and restrictions that are set in place when you buy a home inside of a homeowners association. So let's kind of just dive into the first video right here. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? From New Jersey, looking for good information. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me know if I also freeze, because for some reason we have a lot of things open, it freezes. But let me know where you're coming in from. And we're going to jump into this first video around homeowners associations. And hopefully this thing is not acting crazy. And we're going to see this video. Like I said, if you guys don't know, homeowners, when you buy into a homeowners association community, they can also foreclose on your home. Of course, my thing is buffering. So we are going to, yes, people are texting me. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, you guys, there's a lot going on this end. And my thing is buffering. All right, come on, screen. But let me know where you're tuning in from while the screen stops buffering. All right, now let's see how this is going to work. Share the screen. All right, so the first topic we're going to hit in is the homeowners association topic. I think because I got so many things open that my screen is continuously buffering. So I might have to take some of this stuff off here right now or switch it over to another platform. Because it's really buffering on mine, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize about this, but this is what happens with computers and technology. When you get stuff, this is what happens. It buffers. So let me do this real quick. I'm going to slide all this stuff over into another thing real quick, because this stuff is buffering like crazy. And I don't know what is going on. This is why I don't do a lot of lives. This is exactly why I do not do lives, because of stuff like this. Let me see. Because you try to get stuff in order and then it starts buffering. So I'm just going to move some of this stuff out the way. We're going to figure this stuff out, and it's buffering again. All right, let me just move some stuff out the way. So I apologize, you guys. It wasn't acting like this before I got on. Now it's acting crazy and it wants to buffer. But what I'm doing is I'm just taking some of these things out. All right, so let's go and let's see if we can do this without the buffering. All right, let's share the screen now. Share screen. Hopefully this buffering doesn't do that. All right, so the first topic, like I said, we're going to touch on is the homeowners association topic. Let me know if you can see this, if you are in the comments. And what I'm also going to do is, because for some reason this continuously keeps buffering. I don't know if it's because of the thing. So what I'm going to do too is I'm going to turn the music off, because this music might be making it buffer as well. I try to put some music on in the background, but it ain't gonna work. So we just gonna keep it simple. All right, so let's talk about this homeowners association. I'm gonna play this clip and we are going to get into it.
Right, so when you buy something, it's yours, but that's not always the case when you buy a home.
Well, homeowner associations have the right to foreclose and kick you out if you consistently fail to pay your dues. Reveal investigator Rebecca Lindstrom talked to a woman who says that tool is being abused.
In 2010, Patricia Quigley, upset with her HOA's billing process, decided to take a stand and refuse to pay her dues, about $700 that year. But that only led to letters from Lozak and Johansson, the law firm hired to collect on the debt. And that debt had grown.
Walked in, paid him the $2,700, and when I walked out, I said, "This is all I owe, right?" Yes.
But it wasn't all you owed.
No.
Shortly after, she received another bill for $3,000. She called and sent letters trying to figure out why. But all Quigley says she got in return were cryptic statements, dates with amounts that didn't make any sense to her.
Then here comes the next set of letters. And now it's up to $6,400.
Turns out there were post-judgment legal fees and 18% back interest. So even after she'd paid more than $9,000, she was still somehow behind on her dues. But in 2018, she received the most shocking letter of all, an eviction notice.
You know, you lose your home. That's hard.
But sadness turned to anger when she realized the HOA had purchased her home through foreclosure for $3.24 a year before she was evicted.
So you had been living in your house for a year, but you didn't legally own your house.
No.
Quigley says not only did the HOA accept her dues payment on a house she apparently did not own, but allowed her to make another $4,600 in home loan payments before getting kicked out.
She paid a debt she did not owe.
Yes, that's for sure.
All right, you guys. So like I stated before, this topic is around HOAs. And so, yes, an HOA can foreclose on your home. A lot of people might not know this, but if you have excessive fines put against your home and you do not pay those fines, an HOA can evict you. Can foreclose on your home. They can buy your property. And then like they did with her, they let her stay in the property. She did not know that they bought her property about a year ago for $3.24. And then as she was paying back those fines per se, they then decided once that payment was made, they wanted to evict her and get her out the property because she actually became a tenant of her own property that she bought. So let's share. I'm going to share a screen too in regards to what is the typical amount as far as HOAs, as far as how much, typically an HOA can kind of can get you out of your home for. So let's see right here. So if you guys, I don't know if you can see this, let me know if you can see this. Might have to make it a little bit bigger. Let me make it bigger. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, it might be a little hard. I've seen a couple of people talking about how HOAs are finding people unjustly. Yes, they are finding people unjustly. HOAs, they are doing things, but again, also people have to look at their covenants and restrictions, those bylaws set in place when you buy in the HOA, because those are things inside that most people probably do not fully look at, and they need to look at that. Let's actually switch the screen like this, and so we can kind of see. Let's see which one is better. This one's better. All right, so typically HOAs, let's make this a little lower so we can see when do they usually kind of find you, so it can all fit in the screen. It says an HOA can, so this is in the state of Georgia. Every state is different, as far as what amount can an HOA go about trying to foreclose on your house if you don't pay. So it says an HOA can foreclose on your home if you default on your assessments, and the lien is at least $2,000. This is in the state of Georgia. The HOA must give you notice before starting a foreclosure. It says other states vary widely. You should check your state's laws to find out what recourse the HOA might have. For example, in California, an HOA can't foreclose unless the delinquent amount is $1,800 or more, or the assessments are more than 12 months delinquent. And Texas HOAs can foreclose on homes for any unpaid dues. So it's good for you guys to know, if you bought in an HOA community, to understand what amounts per se, if you don't pay, if an HOA can foreclose on your property, because you're losing your property because you might not understand those particular payment amounts. So you should check into your local laws in regards to what is the amount as far as excessively, if you don't pay on any fines that the HOA gives you, and it kind of falls over into a lien, because it's really the lien. The lien is then placed on the house. Once the lien is placed on the house goes into foreclosure if not paid, and your house can be bought right up underneath you, and you might not know. So in the state of Georgia, the lien has to exceed at least $2,000 or more. Every state is different, so I would definitely look into your laws in regards to HOA. Let's kind of bounce over to the next thing in regards to that HOA as well. If you have any questions, put them inside the box, because that's why we're here tonight, to just have conversations around this. So let's go into, as far as that, it says, let's now go into, if you guys, let me know if you can see this. It basically says, let's talk about homeowners associations, because that's what an HOA is. It's a homeowner association. It says homeowners associations can fine homeowners, again, for violating the community rules and regulations, which are outlined in the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. We call them CC&Rs. Common violations include, so this is most violations, most people get, what's going on, impress you florals. Most violations are caused by these typical things: not taking care of your lawn. You can also get fined, say if your mailbox is tilted over in front of your house, you can get fined by simple things like that. Parking in unauthorized areas, making too much noise, putting trash out too early or not bringing it on time, storing certain items outside your home, changing appearance of structure of your home. So HOA, it depends on what your HOA guidelines are. They can find you according to whatever guidelines they put in place. So it is always important to read your CCRs and those bylaws when you buy an HOA subdivision, because you want to know, because you should try to get those before you even move into the subdivision, right? You should say, hey, if you're working with a realtor or if you're going to a new construction community, and if they should have those CCRs put in place, like, can I get a copy of those CCRs prior to maybe, putting an offer in, or if you do put an offer in, under due diligence, right? You want to gotta get a copy of that. You want to read it just to make sure you understand those bylaws and those CCRs in that subdivision, because it might be something that's simple. I've seen someone said the HOA required them to put their garage door down, and because they didn't put their garage door down, they were fined over and over again. So you want to just kind of get more, you want to understand more about that HOA, whatever you're moving into the community, understand their CCRs, those bylaws. And now, if you guys don't know, if you're in Florida, Florida has actually fought against the HOAs just recently. Florida has decided to put a law in place, the Florida House Bill 1023. It's several different House bills they put in place, the HB 1021, HB 1023, HB 59, several different bills in regards to HOAs. Says the law went through effectively July 1st, 2024 to increase transparency and accountability in homeowners associations, which are HOAs. The bill includes several new requirements, including, so basically they are going to, it's several new things now that Florida kind of put in place to kind of slow down what HOAs have been doing as far as when it comes to people's with home ownership. So they did put, so I'm not going to read the whole bill again. I'm not a lawyer. So you guys have to do your own research, reach out to the local lawyers in your own state, in your own county, in your city. But one thing that this bill did put in place is the parking restrictions. So it says covenants and rules that prohibit certain vehicles from parking in certain areas are no longer enforceable. Again, you want to reach out. If you're in Florida, you want to reach out to your local the local law office just to confirm this. But they're basically saying now that when it came to, let's say if you worked at your house, if you worked in, let's say you worked at a job that had a pickup truck maybe or something, right? and you used to park your pickup truck. There used to be a thing in the covenant said you can't park a pickup truck in your driveway. You have to park it down somewhere else in the subdivision, or you have to park it outside somewhere in the outside the subdivision and then drive your regular car home. Now they're saying basically you can park that pickup truck in your driveway. No, the HOA is no longer basically in control of what type of vehicle you could park in your driveway. But again, get clarity about this with your local law enforcement, your local attorney in your area, just to get more clarity in Florida, because I'm not in Florida. I don't live in Florida, but I know Florida has taken the first steps to try to kind of control what the HOAs have been doing down in that Florida area. And let's talk about this other part of the House bill that the HOA had in place in Florida as well, in regards to, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there also was ordinances around trash cans being on the curb. So say on July 1st, Governor Ron DeSantis, we're going to go down here. The new law, this is in regards to HOAs again, the new law allows more freedom for residents such as backyard clotheslines, trash cans on curbs, and no fines for leaving trash cans out too long. So before, if you left your trash can out too long in some of these communities, they would find you. They wanted you to put it out the day before. Once the trash came, collect it, go back in. Now I think they're giving you a couple more days to kind of keep the trash can out. It's not saying you can keep it out forever. It's just saying, hey, instead of us finding you right away in regards to the trash cans being out, we're giving you an extra day. And then I think they have to give you a written notice to kind of make sure before they try to find you in regards to these trash cans. But again, reach out to your local attorney to make sure and verify everything in regards to these new laws put in place with the HOA bills in Florida, in the state of Florida. All right. So that is about HOAs. If you guys have anything that you want to say in the comments about HOAs, put them below. And we are going to head over now we're going to talk about now homeowners insurance. If you guys don't know, homeowners insurance has been on the rise. Most people might not know this, but okay, let's see if I can put this back in here. Okay. Most people might not know this, but a lot of people are losing their homes now, or having to sell their homes because homeowners insurance has been increasing. If you guys don't know, with all the inclement stuff going on with the weather, the different disasters happening, it is starting to increase people's homeowners insurance. And then I also want to kind of dive into as well, when it comes to homeowners insurance, I also want to dive into the thing around if you're buying a property per se as a home buyer and you run into someone that has a roof that's longer, let's say the age life of the roof is longer, these are some things you might want to be aware of. So let's kind of dive now into this homeowners insurance topic. Again, if you guys are on the live with me, definitely chat in the comments. Let me know your thoughts around this. We just discussed HOAs. Now we're diving into homeowners insurance. These are different topics that you guys need to know. If you're trying to be a homeowner, if you're currently a homeowner, you need to know these different things. And I know most people might not be aware of it because this is not stuff that we kind of go out and start, looking into until after things happen. But this is stuff you guys need to be aware of. So please comment inside the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel. But let's talk about this, these increase in property taxes. So this is in Chicago in regards to the increase in property taxes. And let's jump into it.
We could be forced out, but
Mary Gonzalez and Gary Galuzzo have called Pilsen home for decades. The married couple, who are homeowners and community organizers, have been helping friends and neighbors navigate the treacherous waters of property taxes in the predominantly Latino neighborhood, a trend they say spiraled out of control just 2 years ago as more developers moved in.
But all of a sudden, they discovered that this is a neighborhood that's highly valuable, and boom, the taxes shot up. People are very frustrated, and there's two options. There's one is you run away, or one is you stay and fight.
The couple among the many homeowners in Pilsen who saw increases of more than 40% after a reassessment in late 2022. Gentrification in the neighborhood among the many culprits that have played a role in recent hikes.
Why is an old person sitting on a block with a little old raggedy house responsible for the lot next door being turned into 3 condos?
For Julie and Marianne Nuskell, who have lived in their 2-family home.
Okay, you guys, so that's a little bit about the property tax situation. So if you guys don't know, if you're a current homeowner or if you're looking to be a homeowner in the future, as years go on, your house gets reassessed according to the value of it. So most times it's reassessed by let's just say everybody in your neighborhood, right? They start to sell their house. They sell it for more than what it was worth back in the day. Those new prices of the house go up. The tax assessor comes back out and they reassess the properties around it, and then it causes your property to go up because of that reassessment. So in the state of Georgia, the reassessment happens every year. And I just want to show you all this so you can see how often it goes. I don't know about your state, but in Georgia, as you can see here, we have every year. So I just wanted to get this information out for you guys. How often can a county reassess property? Under Georgia law, all property is to be returned and assessed at fair market value every year. So every year in the state of Georgia, they reassess the property value. And that is how property value goes up down here in Georgia. And so if you guys, this is what I always tell people, right? When they're looking to buy a home as a home buyer, it's a few things that will definitely change your numbers, right? Your property taxes will probably most likely go up because property values typically go up. However, I do tell people, when you're buying a house, sometimes your house is an asset, but it also depreciates too. If you're not upkeeping the house, if you're not taking care of it, you can also lose value if everything in your neighborhood, if all the houses in your neighborhood start to sell for less than what you bought your house for. You can also lose value per se, equity in your house. If you bought your house for $300,000, and every house in the neighborhood is selling for $250,000, and it's comparable to your house, that could possibly make you lose some equity or property value in your house. But that might also allow your taxes to go down. I'm not sure. I will always definitely talk to an attorney about more of that information. But let's dive into. So let's kind of talk about more when it comes to taxes. Homeowners insurance. Sorry, homeowners insurance. No, wait, what were we talking about? Sorry, I'm sorry, y'all. Let's talk about more about these taxes. I thought we were talking about homeowners insurance, but I think that's what I did say. I think I did say homeowners insurance, and I think I went into property taxes because I'm on a roll with these taxes because this has been killing me softly. But let me know how you guys feel about this. Definitely, if you're watching the replay, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But let's get off of property taxes real quick, and let's actually dive into home insurance. So we can kind of see how home insurance, because I think I went from home insurance to property taxes because they kind of go hand in hand as far as what's increasing right now. Your home insurance is probably increasing because of the storms. Everything that's happening around the nation is causing your home insurance to go up. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to dive into what states are kind of seeing an increase in home insurance. And let me know your thoughts in regards to home insurance.
And I'm taking you inside the numbers on rising homeowners insurance rates. They've risen a lot here in Arizona recently, but data shows we are still paying close to the national average. Since 2018, home insurance premiums are up 34% across the nation. And for the most part, it's Western states that have been seeing these rises above the national rate of change. Arizona is included in that. With the 3 states, though, with the largest rate of change for homeowners insurance are Texas at 60%, Colorado at 58%, and then Arizona at 53%. But that doesn't mean we are.
So as he said, homeowners insurance is up 34%, which is crazy to me. What he's doing now is he's kind of showing where the average kind of goes throughout the nation from every state. And you can kind of see what states are either increasing, what states might have got a little decrease per se, but homeowners insurance per se is up 34%.
Paying more. The national average last year, Arizona paid about $170 less than that national rate on a $400,000 home. The states with the highest average rates by far are in the Midwest, from Nebraska to Texas and from Colorado to the Mississippi. Right smack dab in the middle of that region is Oklahoma with the highest average rates in the country. And if you've ever seen the size of the hailstones there, you know why. But going back to Arizona, a 50% rise in the overall average, as we said, but it's larger for fixed value categories. Using insurance.com and the.
So let's kind of dive into this topic now around insurance. So basically, it seems like the homeowners insurance is increasing more in those states where, of course, more natural disasters are happening, whether you're in Florida, maybe some parts of California with the forest fires, in Florida, of course, with the hurricanes, and areas in which I guess they have more inclement weather. However, most people probably don't notice, but just because you're not in those states, that doesn't mean that you can't be affected, and that doesn't mean that your homeowner's insurance might not go up, because if you're using a nationwide carrier, your homeowner's insurance could possibly go up because you're kind of absorbing those costs in those other states to kind of effectively offset any payoffs maybe. Also, it could, not only your homeowner's insurance can go up, your car insurance can go up. Different things can possibly go up, even though you might not have had an accident or anything might have happened to your house or per se, but your insurance is still going up. So those are things that are happening right now, right? We're in the year of 2024. We're about to head into 2025. We're seeing an increase in home insurance. We're seeing an increase in property taxes because, again, we know during that pandemic time per se, the appreciation of the houses kind of shot up, and they appreciated drastically than the normal appreciation over time. And because of that, your property taxes went up, your homeowner's insurance went up. And you, as a home buyer or even a homeowner, you might be, as a home buyer, like, well, I don't know, can I effectively afford this? And as a homeowner, you're like, I don't know if I can effectively afford this. You're sitting in a house, even if you have a low interest rate, you're like, okay, my property, I might have bought this house 3 years ago with a great mortgage with a lower interest rate. However, 2 years later, my property taxes then went up, drastically higher, or my home insurance is shot up. So now you're like, can I still afford this mortgage, right? And then outside of that, your HOA might go up. The fees might go up for your HOA. So it all kind of turns into like a snowball effect, and it kind of wraps itself into one. But let's kind of dive into now more about taxes. Again, if you guys are inside watching the live tonight, don't be scared to chat in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. This is just, we're having a real estate discussion. Trust and believe these are topics that you guys need to really dive into. I know a lot of people, probably don't want to touch on any of these topics. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I've been telling people, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an insurance agent. These are just things that I either kind of came across, or things, well, not really came across. These are things in which people either told me, experiences that I've had in regards to this, and then also just working in the real estate industry. These are topics in which you guys really need to get some information in, because it's not, I'm trying to let y'all know this is crazy. So let's also talk about real quick, when it comes to home insurance, I want to tell you guys a little bit about when it comes to, because I'm currently going through this right now. I let my buyer know this prior to us putting an offer in on a house. I said, hey, when it comes to home insurance nowadays, most home insurances are not, they are not basically giving you home insurance. He said, this, thank you, Impress You for this is some good info. Yeah, I'm telling people to suck it in. I'm like, nobody wants to come on the live tonight, but I'm saying, hey, you're missing out on some great information, because these are topics and subjects and things that most people don't think about, because we're living day to day in our life, and we're not sitting down really thinking about stuff. But let's kind of head back into what I was saying. As far as I have I work with a current home buyer, and I told her that when we saw the seller gave us their seller's property disclosure. So in most states, you're required, I believe in all states, but most states, you're required to give a seller's property disclosure if you were a homeowner occupier of that house. If you lived in a house in the state of Georgia, you have to give a seller's property disclosure. If you're an investor in the state of Georgia, you have to at least give a latent defect disclosure. And that is a similar disclosure, but it's not when it comes to actually being more detailed, because if you're an investor, you can say, I've never lived in the house. I don't know what happened to the house. This is all I know. But when you're a homeowner occupier, you have to go deep dive into the actual disclosure and start talking about the roofing, the plumbing, the electrical, all these different things. And so we saw the property disclosure, and I told my buyer, hey, they said that the roof is 20 years old. And because I had recently had this conversation with a homeowner insurance agent, I know that most homeowner insurance companies are not insuring roofs past 10 or even maybe 15 years old. So when your roof gets into that 20-year-old cycle, or past the 10-year cycle or 15-year cycle, depending on who your home insurance person is, it might be hard for you to get home insurance on a roof of such magnitude when it comes to the age. And of course, she went to try to go to, after we went under contract, of course, her lender did the right thing, say, hey, you might want to go and try to get the homeowner's insurance now. And when she went to go get the homeowner's insurance agent said, how old is the roof? She said 20 years old. They said, we don't insure anything. Because most people, when they utilize their homeowners insurance nowadays, and most insurance companies will say, hey, you have your car insurance with us, why don't you bundle your insurance with your homeowners insurance, and it'll give you a discount per se on your insurance. So most people just bundle their insurance with their car insurance and their homeowners insurance. But in this situation, because the roof is older, most homeowners insurance companies are not insuring older roofs. And I try to let people know this. I keep screaming it from the rooftop, but no one's listening to me. I'm screaming it from the rooftop, but no one's listening to me. If the roof is older than a certain age, a lot of homeowner insurance companies, are not insuring your roof. You might have to go to a local insurance company, someone local that might want to take on that risk. However, if they're a nationwide carrier, they're not insuring your roof after a certain age. And then some lenders do, because you can't, when you have a certain loan like FHA, VA, and different loans like that, those government-backed loans, you cannot close without insurance on your property. Typically, that's with any financing, right? You really can't close with any without having insurance on your property, because that insurance is not really for you as the home buyer or the homeowner. That insurance is really insurance for the lender. The lender wants to make sure the asset in which they're financing for you to live in is secured. So if anything happens, whether any weather damage happens, any fire damage happens, that they will make sure they have some safety in regards to assuring the asset. So that homeowner's insurance is really not for you as a home buyer or a homeowner. It's really for the insurance company, in my opinion. The insurancer might tell you no, it's for you. The lender might tell you no, it's for you. But in my opinion, it's more for the lender to make sure they're insuring the asset, whoever's financing the house. Because if you buy the house in cash, you don't have to get homeowners insurance. It's not recommended. Would I tell you not to do it? No, I would tell you still get it, because you never know what can happen to your house. However, at the end of the day, that's more of an insurance put in place from the lender. That's why if you close with any government-backed type of loans or any financing per se, the lenders can still utilize maybe a statewide insurance company that they know that they can utilize to kind of help you pay or to help you get set up for your homeowner's insurance. Or some people use the oldest insurance company, I believe, is called Lloyd's of London. And though they're like an older insurance company, and they typically will sometimes insure roofs that are higher in age per se. I'm not going to say all the time. Again, call them personally, but they will typically kind of insure that. But those insurance costs will probably be higher because it's offsetting that risk. So again, let's sit right here. Let me show you guys real quick, because I know some people don't believe me. Every time I say this, everybody thinks that Devon don't know anything. So I always like to just show information and let you guys know that I know a little something. So it says right here, homeowners insurance typically won't cover roofs older than 20 years old due to natural deterioration. Insurance companies may offer limited coverage, like I told you guys. If your roof is older than 20 years, your insurance company may only cover the depreciation cost of repairs, also known as the actual cash value. It says some insurance companies may require an inspection before offering coverage to homes with roofs that are 20 years or older. And then it says roof refuse coverage. Some insurance companies may refuse to write a policy for homes with roofs that are more than 20 years older. It says insurance companies typically won't cover roof damage caused by wear and tear, neglect, or improper installation. So typically, homeowners insurance, if they want to kind of cover it once something happens to the roof. So if nothing ever happened to the roof, say your roof, the weather didn't cause it to create any like damage per se to the roof, or if something didn't pop the roof or hit the roof or whatever, they don't typically want to cover it just for typical wear and tear. They're like, no, you can go get it done by yourself. Get a local roofing company to kind of make those repairs. So you guys want to be careful when purchasing a house nowadays that has a longer age of a roof, and anything else that might be kind of longer in value as far as age when it comes to homeowners insurance. And you also want to know how to use the home insurance. I have been trying to get a home insurance agent on the line with me as far as the talk on the live in regards to homeowners insurance, but I feel like all these professionals are running from me. I don't know why. It's like I'm trying to educate people, have an actual good conversation, because I don't feel like a lot of homeowners really know what their home insurance is there for. Like I said, I feel like it's just set in place for the lender. And again, if I had a home insurance person on here, agent on here, maybe they could tell me different. But from my perspective, homeowners insurance is set in place more for the lender as far as the asset of your house. And if you go and, like I told you guys before on one of my other videos, if you go and make a claim against your homeowner's insurance, that claim, if they're fixing anything in your house, that claim lasts 3 to 5 years, and it follows the house. And if you're the one to put the claim on the house, it will follow you as well. So you guys need to know about that homeowner's insurance. Again, if you have any questions, if you want to join the conversation, put in the chat while I'm live. If you are watching the replay, put any information you got down below in regards to homeowners insurance. And if you're a homeowners insurance agent, and you want to have a chat with me on live, put it in the comments. Let's chat. Let's have a good discussion. Let's educate our homeowners and our home buyers when it comes to home insurance to make sure they are effectively using their insurance correctly. All right. Now let's dive into taxes. So we talked a little bit about property taxes. Again, thank you guys for joining me live. This is a real estate discussion around HOAs, homeowners insurance, taxes when it comes to property taxes, inheritance tax, estate tax, and then probate. Again, I am not an attorney. I am not an estate planning attorney. I'm not a probate attorney. I am not a tax assessor. I am not a county assessor. I am a local realtor in the Metro Atlanta area. And because I've dealt with these situations and because I've heard these situations around me, I'm just giving you guys information and knowledge that I personally know. All right. So we already talked about HOAs. We already talked about homeowners insurance if you're just joining us now. And now we talked a little bit about property taxes and how property taxes are assessed and how some people are kind of being misplaced, I guess, because property taxes have gone up due to houses around them selling. But now let's kind of dive. And if you have anything about property taxes you want to talk about, put it in the comments. Now let's dive into a little bit about inheritance tax. If you guys don't know, this was something that was sprung on me when it comes to inheritance tax because a family member of mine actually had this happen in regards to inheritance tax. So there are certain states that have inheritance tax. There are certain states that have inheritance in a state, and so they have inheritance tax, estate tax, and then most states have federal estate taxes. So again, I'm not an estate planning attorney. So again, you want to dive in deeper with attorneys, ask more questions to your local attorneys around this stuff. But I just want to bring this to you guys and we can talk about it a little bit. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Let's see. I want to make sure I hit the right one so we can kind of dive into this so we know a little bit about inheritance. What is inheritance tax? So we're going to dive into a little bit about what inheritance tax is. And this is a tax that happens after someone passes away that you could possibly, a tax that you might have to pay. Okay. So there's only I think there's like 5 or 6 states that have currently inheritance tax. Most states don't have inheritance tax. But again, this is something you want to look into if you're in these states. Okay. He said, what? Key time, 20 years. No. So you don't want, 20 years, no. When it comes to, if you're talking about homeowners insurance, when it comes to your roof, Jaren, and pressure florals, you want to try to do 10 years or less if you're buying a house. 10 years or less, 15 years or less if you're trying to look for insurance, because some homeowners insurance companies will not insure a roof if it's more than that year, that age. If the age is more than that, but you can, like I said, you can get a local possibly insurance company or Lloyd's of London that will possibly insure the roof, but it will cost more. But it's going to be difficult when it gets to that 20 years. But yeah, so I typically would tell people who want to do the 10 to 15 years if you're a new home buyer and you're trying to buy a house. All right, so let's dive into what inheritance tax is. So inheritance tax, it says right here, it says, what is inheritance tax? An inheritance tax is a tax imposed by some states on recipients of inherited assets. In contrast to an estate tax, an inheritance tax is paid by the recipient of a bequest rather than a deceased estate. The inheritance tax is not common in the United States. It says, in fact, just 6 states have inheritance tax as of 2024. The taxation of inheritance depends on the state in which the deceased lived or owned property. So again, this is going on where the deceased person lived. So say if you live, so I know one of the states is Pennsylvania, another one is Jersey, right? Those are areas in which I'm from. So say if the person died in, let's say, Georgia, all right? then you would say to yourself, okay, well, they died in Georgia. However, they own property in New Jersey. Even though the taxation of the inheritance depends on the state in which the deceased lived or owned property, if they died in Georgia but they own property in Jersey, you're still going to be hit with an inheritance estate tax. If they're in Pennsylvania, you're still going to be hit one. Another state that has inheritance estate tax is Maryland. Another state is Iowa, which I think they're trying to get rid of. Another state is Nebraska, I believe. So let's go down and see the states. Let's take this guy off here. These people are all on the screen, y'all. Okay, another state is, let's look at the 6 states as of 2024. I think Iowa is trying to get rid of it. So here are some of the states. You got Iowa. It says spouses, lineal ascendants, parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, and lineal descendants, children, stepchildren, grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren are exempt. Charities are exempt up to $500. The tax rate on other ranges from 2% to 6% of inheritance. Iowa's inheritance tax will be repealed in 2025. So they're trying to get rid of this inheritance tax, all right? Again, you want to talk to an estate planning attorney in regards to these taxes, because I'm not one. Kentucky is another state that has inheritance. So it says immediate family members, spouses, parents, children, and siblings are exempt. So these people are exempt from paying the estate tax, the inheritance tax. Other recipients are exempt up to $500 to $1,000, and then it goes on a sliding scale with the percentage range. Here you have Maryland and the immediate family. Again, they said these people are exempt and charities are exempt. You want to dive into that a little bit more. However, Maryland is one of the states too that actually has an inheritance. He said, not they running. Who's running? I don't know who you're running. What you mean who running? Maryland is actually a state that has an inheritance tax, but also has the estate tax, and I believe it also has the federal estate tax. So they get hit like boom, 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 boom in Maryland. I don't know if anybody own any property in Maryland that I know of. I'm sorry, I don't put my name on it. That's a lot of taxes you're gonna be paying. That's a lot of taxes. But because if you're a cousin, I think you still gotta, if you're a cousin or somebody that in a different type of lineal situation, you gotta pay those taxes. So Nebraska, similar as far as spouses and charities are fully exempt. Immediate family, siblings, blah, blah, are exempt up to $100,000. So again, you want to dive into this yourself and your state. If you see your state on here, New Jersey, immediate family, spouse, children, parents, grandparents, children, and charitable organizations are exempt. And then it goes right here. It says the tax rate ranges from 11 to 6%. And then Pennsylvania, spouse and minor children are exempt. So they're saying basically if you are a spouse to the person who died, or if you're a minor children to that person who died, you are exempt. However, adult children, parents are exempt up to $3,500, and then the tax rate is that. So these are the different states that have inheritance tax. These are things you want to look into. You want to understand what inheritance tax is. Like I said, I'm not a estate planning attorney, so I'm not going to dive deep into it. This is just to let you guys know, like, this is what these are some taxes you might want to kind of dive into if you're in these states. What we will do though at Pennsylvania, because this is where one of my relatives happened to have the problem, we're going to look into what Pennsylvania says about inheritance tax. So what we'll do real quick, we will dive into it again. If you want more information around these taxes, you want to talk to your estate planning attorney or a real estate attorney. So when it comes to inheritance tax, as we talked about what it is, it says this is the rates in which they tax you in Pennsylvania. If the person has any as far as their estate, if they have, let's say if they have any, we're going to kind of specify this into real estate per se, right? So if the person has a house in Pennsylvania and they passed away and you're not a married spouse to the person, you're not a child under the age of 21 to said person, you will have to pay some type of tax. All right. So right here, it says right here that again, we're dialing down into real estate. However, this is in general with anything that the person dies, whether they have like money, all that stuff, whatever, it all goes into the estate. But let's, like I said, dial into real estate. So it says right here, the rates of Pennsylvania inheritance tax are as follows: 0% on transfers to a surviving spouse or to a parent from a child age 21 or younger. So again, 0% is basically saying you're exempt from the tax. 4.5% on transfers to direct descendants and lineal heirs. So if you're a direct descendant, if you're over the age of 21, you still have to pay taxes according to the Department of Revenue in the state of Pennsylvania. Again, every state is different. Remember, United States, we don't all have the same laws in each state. So go get more information around this inheritance tax, you guys. I'm telling you, I'm trying to save you guys. I'm trying to save you, and you want to figure out how can you be exempt from these taxes. Again, I wanted to try to get an estate planning attorney on here or a real estate attorney to kind of dive into some of this information, particularly one from Pennsylvania. Really wanted one from Maryland, but I could not get a hold of anyone. So I'm just giving you guys the basics, and you're going to have to do the rest of the research yourself because I'm not an attorney and I don't want to lead you astray. 12% on transfers to siblings and 15% on transfers to other heirs, except charitable organizations, exempt institutions, and government entities exempt from tax. So you guys want to know this when it comes to if you have a parent, if you have a brother, if you have a sister, if you have a cousin, and they say, hey, I'm going to put you, I live in the state of Pennsylvania, I have property in the state of Pennsylvania, even though I might have died in Maryland, I have property in Pennsylvania, and you're going to have to pay the tax, estate tax. Inheritance tax. If that person is my cousin, or say I've never got married to. Yes, Jaron, New Jersey has inheritance tax too. It does. That's one of the 6 states. Look into it. I keep telling people this is the reason why I'm bringing this up. I know a lot of people don't want to jump on this live tonight, don't want to be educated around this stuff, and hopefully, if you're watching the replay, you will understand more, and it'll help you want to go and kind of research it more, or call your own real estate attorney or your own estate planning attorney. But that's the purpose of me jumping on here, having these discussions, having these lives, and allowing you guys, while I'm live, to kind of dive into the comments, have a whole discussion around this. This is what we need when it comes to real estate. I know everybody likes to talk about the housing market and where it's going and everything as far as that, but this is stuff outside of that. This is still the housing market. This is just different areas in the housing market. Like if you're, like I said earlier, with the HOAs and with the home insurance and the property taxes, if you're a home buyer, you want to know this beforehand. Even if you're a homeowner, you want to know about that stuff as you're in your home. But while you're in your home, this is stuff on the back end you need to know about too. There's so many taxes that are put on people when they die, and when it comes around real estate, you guys need to dive into this. You guys need to talk to an estate planning attorney, a real estate attorney, a CPA. You guys really need to dive into this, okay? This is the reason why I'm having this real estate discussion. I wanted to have a lender on here today, but I couldn't get any lenders to come on here with me tonight. But I said, hey, let's jump and dive into this other discussion, because I don't think most people realize that these other taxes will hit you when somebody passes away and they leave you any type of real estate or anything in regards to their estate, any type of monies, anything. I think the only thing that can't be touched in some instances is it's like your life insurance policies. However, I believe on a federal level, they can tax the life insurance policy. So you guys want to have these discussions, talk to an estate planning attorney, talk to attorneys, really dive into this, you guys. This is crucial information. And if you're not here to take this knowledge in and pass it on and share it amongst other people, you should be hitting that share button right now on this YouTube live, and everybody should be joining into this discussion, because this is a much needed discussion, and you're going to find yourself paying taxes back on stuff, and you're going to have this money in your pocket from you selling this house. You're going to be paying taxes back. You're going to be mad as heck when you realize you're going to be in the poorhouse. I'm trying to tell y'all better hop on. Y'all better hop on and get it and understand this is some crucial information, All right. So anyway, that's inheritance tax. So if you guys have any questions around inheritance tax, again, understand inheritance tax. He said the agents you was trying to get on live. What are you talking about? What agents you talking about? So I was trying to get a home insurance agent on, because I wanted them to dive into more home insurance. I was trying to get also an estate plan attorney on live, because these are things we need to know if you have a house, and when you're putting everything in order, these taxes are put in place if you own properties in certain states. So those 6 states that I just went through as far as inheritance tax, you have Pennsylvania, you have Jersey, you have Kentucky, you have Nebraska, you have Iowa, you have Maryland, and what's the other one? 6 states. And those 6 states, they have inheritance tax. So if you're not a spouse or whatever, however it kind of divvies in those states, you're gonna be paying some money on the estate you inherited. And again, this YouTube page is around real estate. So I'm really trying to key point on, like, if you have a house and you have left somebody in a will, or you left somebody inside as a beneficiary or something, these are things that might pass on to them when you pass away. I know you're like, oh, I'm leaving them in good standings and everything. And again, you might want to go and might try to look into trusts, because maybe the trust can be protected some way, somehow. I don't know. I'm not an estate plan attorney. I'm not a trust attorney. I'm not a probate attorney. I'm not an attorney at all. I am a local realtor in the Metro Atlanta area. However, these are things that happen with people's real estate that I see all the time, and information and discussions that happen around me all the time. I'm just trying to give it to y'all. Just trying to give it to y'all, and hopefully encourage you guys to keep researching outside of this video, right? So anyway, let's dive into real quick into the other tax, which like I said, is also a estate tax. And again, we're just going to dive into it real quick so you guys know a little bit about it. Again, drop into the comments, y'all. Let's have a discussion while I'm here and I'm live. This is the reason I'm doing this for you. I created a YouTube channel for everybody, for you, not for myself, for you guys, and really try to give as much information as I can. If you guys don't know, I used to be a educator, and so I like to educate people. I like to give information, knowledge to people, to try to educate them. So we also have, in addition, like I said, you guys, they have federal estate tax. It says with a top rate of 40%, some states levy an additional estate tax, which is the state estate tax, or an inheritance tax. 12 states in the District of Columbia impose estate taxes, and 6 states impose inheritance tax, which we discussed earlier, the 6 states that impose the inheritance tax. And then again, Maryland. Oh, don't click. I knew this was going to happen. Sorry, y'all. Let's go back. Maryland is the only state to impose both estate tax and inheritance tax. All right. It says the state taxes are paid by descendants. The state before assessed assets are distributed to heirs and are thus imposed on overall value of estate. Inheritance taxes are remitted by the recipient of a bequest and are thus based on the amount dispersed to each beneficiary. So again, I'm going to keep telling y'all this. I'm not an attorney. Dive into that more with an attorney. But I believe the estate taxes, most people don't typically get taxed because it's a big amount, and most people don't reach that amount in their estate, in those estate tax purposes. But I'm just bringing this to you guys. It says some states, estate taxes are progressive. The tax rate increases with the total value of descendants' assets. 2 states, Connecticut and Vermont, have flat estate taxes with a single tax rate. Hawaii and Washington have the highest top rates in the nation at 20%. 8 states in the District of Columbia are next with a top rate of 16%. All states impose certain exemptions that prevent smaller estates from being subject to these taxes. It says Oregon, here we go again with this buffering over, sorry y'all. Oregon, great information. Thanks, Lang, for watching. Thanks, Lang. Hopefully one day you'll be able to chat in the comments. I don't know why it's letting you chat, but Oregon has the lowest tax exemption at 1 million, and Connecticut has the highest tax exemption of 12.92 million. So again, when it comes to the state taxes per se, most people probably won't come in touch with an estate tax, with a state estate tax, because of the amount in which the exemption is, which is like a million or whatever, 12.9 million. But again, you should look into this. Ask a local attorney, anyone, in regards to all this. And this right here kind of breaks down the states. This gold type of color shows you the state has an estate tax. The state has an inheritance tax in blue, and then the one with the striping it means it has both. So again, Maryland's the only state that has both. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me make this larger. Maryland is the only state that has both of these taxes. Okay, sorry, y'all. All right. So Maryland is the only state that has both. He said, what he say? Yes, I thought Jersey did. Yes, Jersey does. We had to. Yep, Jersey does. Jersey has an inheritance tax, you guys. So the gold states again have a state tax. So these states right here, you got Washington, Oregon, Minnesota, Illinois, Vermont, New York, Maine, and then you have these Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, excuse me, DC. Where's DC? DC around here somewhere has it too. So right here it says DC. And then all the stuff in the gray, so all these gray states, they don't have any of those taxes imposed. But again, always look into your state just to find out more information, y'all. This is just about giving you. And then the blue states, again, these are the states that have the inheritance tax. And then again, Maryland is the state that has both taxes. All right, so you guys want to dig deeper into that, definitely. And then and like I said, every state also, let me see, as far as the federal estate tax. So we're going to the Internal Revenue Department right here, which is the IRS, so we can learn about these other taxes. Again, I'm not a tax CPA. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just telling you guys this because this relates to real estate. All right. So it says the estate tax is a tax on your right to transfer property at your death. Again, that's why I'm talking about this, because real estate is property that is transferred at your death. So that is why I'm talking about these taxes, you guys. It consists of an accounting of everything you own or have certain interest in at the date of death. The fair market value of these items is used, not necessarily what you paid for them or what their values were when you acquired them. The total of all these items is your gross estate. The includable property, right? I think that's included. Sorry, guys. The includable property may consist of cash, securities, real estate. So that's why I'm talking about this. Insurance, trusts, annuities, business interests, and other assets. So again, you guys want to dive more into that estate tax. And I'm talking about these taxes again. Why? Because they affect real estate. So I won't go deep into it because, again, like I said, I am not a CPA, nor am I an estate plan attorney, nor am I an attorney at all. I have to make that statement so you guys don't be over here saying Devon said. But this is stuff you guys really need to look into, okay? So now let's dive into the last thing, which is probate. And then we are out of here. I thank you guys for joining me tonight. Again, it's always great to have conversation inside the live chat. And if you're watching the replay, don't be scared to kind of comment below. If you are an estate plan attorney, if you are a real estate attorney, if you are a CPA, if you are a home insurance agent, if you are a property assessor, and you want to have any, want to kind of hit our channel and our friends over here on this real estate channel with any more knowledge, please put it below in the comments. If you feel like I was wrong or I said something wrong, put it in the comments as well. But let's dive into this probate, and then we are out of here, because this is what I kind of want to talk about probate. And the only reason why I want to talk about probate is because this is another discussion that needs to come up, which I think people get wrong. So let's talk about probate real quick. And like I said, I always like to put what probate is. I always like to give you guys definitions of everything so you know what things are. So probate, what is probate? Probate is a process completed when a descendant leaves assets to distribute such as bank accounts, real estate. Again, that's why we're talking about this, because real estate is inside here, and financial investments. Probate is a general administration of a deceased person's will or the estate of a deceased person without a will. Okay, it says an executor is commonly named in the will or an administrator if there is no will to complete the probate process. This involves collecting the descendants' assets to pay any remaining liabilities of their estate and distributing the assets to beneficiaries. All right. So again, I'm touching on this topic because this is something that most people probably don't dive into that much, right? So with probate, a little bit of knowledge that I can give you guys, and again, I'm in the state of Georgia, and what I'll do is I actually have a booklet that's all tore up, so don't hit me. But I have a booklet here that talks about probate, right? Because this is something that I wanted to dive into a little bit more, because I am currently working with a client who is going through, she's gone effectively through the probate process. However, I just want to give you guys more insight when it comes to probate, right? So everybody thinks to themselves, I don't have to go through probate, because why? Because I have a will was written out, and it gives me instructions on that I'm the one that's taking the house per se. Let's just say I'm taking the house, right? I don't have to go through probate. And you guys you are correct a little bit, but you're not fully correct. So even if there's a will in place, the will has to still go to probate court, right? And so the will can go to probate court if everything's already in order per se in probate court. You can go to probate court, just file the will to said probate court. You don't have to go through the whole probate process, right? Because the will is already in place, but you still have to file said will in probate court. However, wills can be contested. So if someone comes in, your will is filed, the will is filed, a random child comes out of the blue somewhere, and your parent, let's say your mom or dad has a house, a random child comes out of the blue somewhere, that random child is also allowed to take said interest in the property. So that child can, if they wanted to, they could contest the will. Wills can be contested. However, a will is set in place to have proper distribution of things, right? If you don't have a will, you have to go through the probate process. And through that probate process, typically a will put in place already has who the executor is going to be of the estate. They have, the typical beneficiaries of said estate. And if you don't have a will, the will might say, if you don't have a will, you have to go through the probate process, and then an executor is then either put in place or an administrator is put in place. If you guys can't come to a decision, the courts sometimes will come to a decision on who is going to be the administrator over said estate. All right. So it is good to know that if anyone you know has any real estate property, and they have a will in place, that it has to go through probate. And again, this is my little handy dandy Georgia probate book. And so I'll read some of it for you guys so you kind of know what it is. And so, and then we'll hit back on the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this real quick, and I'm gonna read a little bit about probate. And if you guys have any questions around probate, put it in the comments below while we're live here. So it says, why does a will need to be probated? The word probate means to prove. Okay, you guys, a will is not operative under the law until it has been proven by the court to be a will. So that is the reason why you have to go down to the probate court, even if there's a will in place, and the court has to prove said will has been put in place, because the will means to prove. All right. It says the court process allows anyone who has standing to object and be heard. Again, a will can be contested. And again, I'm basically reading this around the state of Georgia. I would definitely say talk to probate lawyers in your state, because again, every state in the United States is different. So I would talk, but traditionally this is across the board. If you guys, so I heard some people say, well, I have POA, which stands for power of attorney. I have POA over over my sister. And my sisters told me when we was having a conversation that she was going to give me the house, and since I had power of attorney over her, she told me that. And even though nothing was written down in the will, but I'm the power of attorney over her, so I'm able to sell the house when she died. No, you're not. When she dies, the power of attorney dies. Power of attorney just means you have power over them while they're alive. When she dies, the power of attorney dies, and if she didn't put an effective will in place, you will go through the probate process. Even if she told you out of her mouth that you got her house, it doesn't matter. You got to go through probate. There was no will put in place. If she wrote it down and said will, then those instructions are set forth. It still has to go to probate for that will to be proven, but the will doesn't have to effectively go through it unless it's doesn't have to create a whole thing in court, per se. Once it's they kind of go through everything. So there is another thing that you guys can do. It's not in every state too, but in the state of Georgia, they have something that just got implemented this year. It's called transfer of death on deed. That's something that you can put in place prior and might help you eliminate that probate process. So I would definitely talk to your local attorney in your state to see if you guys have that. They call it a TOD, TODD, which is the transfer of death. Was it transfer of deed on death? I believe. Let me see. Let me Google it real quick. But it's called transfer, and you might be able transfer of death. Let me see. I'm about to say transfer on death deed. So that's what it's called. Again, every state might not have this, but this could probably help you when you're going to buy a house. At closing, you could possibly put this deed in place if your state allows for it to be put in place. In regards to transfer said property over, you have to name the beneficiaries of the property, right? But it's called a transfer on death deed. Again, I don't want to make everybody somber up in this live tonight. I just want to give you guys some knowledge and some information. And like I said, hopefully this opens up a rabbit hole and you start searching, you start digging, just to have your stuff in order. And there's more stuff than this. I just can't be on here forever talking about this stuff, but there's so much more that you guys that I want to say. But like I said, I got to get more people to come in this space, have conversation with me, or I ain't gonna be able to do all this because this is about a community and y'all sleeping on me. Ain't nobody chatting with me. But yeah, you have a transfer on death deed, which is a TOD. They call it another thing, a ladybird. I believe it's called ladybird as well. It's a legal document that allows a property owner to name beneficiaries who will inherit their property after they die. It says how it works. The property owner or transferor names the beneficiaries in the deed, but retains ownership and control of the property until their death. The property is transferred directly to the beneficiaries without going through probate, which can be expensive and time consuming. So this is another way that you could possibly skip the probate process. And I know some people say you can put stuff in trust too. Again, I'm not an estate plan attorney or a trust plan attorney. I would talk to those attorneys in regards to putting things in trust and all that stuff and seeing how you can kind of skip that probate process. But this might be a way for you. It says who can be a beneficiary. Beneficiaries can be individuals, organizations, or charities. If there are multiple beneficiaries, the deed should specify how the property will be titled in their names. Revoking a TOD, the transferor can cancel the TOD. Transferor can cancel the TOD at any time and change their mind about who inherits the property. So if your state allows for this, Jaron, how you know that? An executrix. Yes. A woman is called an executrix and a man is called an executor as far as when it comes to those people over the estate going through probate. Yep. So that is what the woman is called, an executrix. That's good. See, I love how you guys are on here spitting knowledge. You guys understand some of the terminology. This is the purpose of these lives. This is the purpose of this YouTube channel, right? Like I know you guys are used to me doing housing tours on here, and I'll probably throw some on here every now and then again because everybody likes to see pretty houses. But we need to dig deeper into the stuff, y'all. There's so much stuff around real estate, around estates, and around everything that we need to dig deeper into. So, and again, I'm bringing this to everybody because this is stuff that I personally experienced in real estate. Everybody always want to know, what have you experienced? Everybody always asks me, how long you been in real estate? How long is it? But people don't know. I've experienced so much more than some people I haven't been in real estate for 25, 30 plus years, but I've experienced more than some people that's been in it for 25 years. My first transaction was a whole situation that happened with a title deed situation and a claim and quick claim and quiet action claims and all this stuff that when I went into my brokerage and I talked to veterans that have been in the real estate for 20 something plus years, because if I was in it for 20 plus years, I'd be a baby. So I can't 20 plus years, but they were in it for, well, I'm gonna say 30 plus years. They were in it for 30 plus years and they're like, I never experienced that. I don't know nothing about that. No one could guide me through the process. I've learned through the process. I've learned a lot through my process of real estate. And so people, I'm just spitting knowledge out to you guys, So anyway, before I go on a tangent. So you can you as the property owner can at any time cancel who you want to inherit their property on that deed as well. Again, every state does not have this type of deed, so see if your state has this deed. It's right here, it says ties are in many U.S. states and District of Columbia. So it's in many, but it's not in all. You see how I said it said many, it didn't say all. Right here it says recording the deed, the tie must be recorded in the county where the property is located before the transferor's death, and then working with an attorney. Ties are relatively new and mistakes can have serious consequences, so it's recommended to work with a knowledgeable attorney. So again, you want to work with an attorney that understands the topic. All right. So let's dive a little bit more into probate. Now I'm gonna get off here. If you guys have any questions around probate, let me know. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm trying to get a probate attorney on here. Everybody seems to be so busy nowadays. I feel like I'm in with the Wizard of Oz, but she's like what Dorothy said. She said people come and go so quickly around here. I just feel like people come and go so quickly in real estate that you be like, don't nobody got time, but they all got time to take your money. They all got time to take your money, but they ain't got time to sit down here and really give you some knowledge. Okay. There is another thing in the state of Georgia as well when it comes to probate, and I want to read it to you guys again. You want to do your own research, and get your own information, but I do want to tell you in the state of Georgia that there's a thing called petition for years of support. So let me bring that up so you guys can understand the petition for years of support. I have it on my paper here. I'm going to bring it up. Petition for years. She said, "Take our money." Yeah, Lane. They want to take your money. They want to take your money, but they don't want to really sit down and give y'all the information. I'm trying to tell you. I'm just trying to tell y'all. I'm trying to make y'all when y'all go in these rooms and y'all talk to these realtors, y'all gonna be so prepared that you're gonna be like, and when you go sit down and even probate, I ain't give y'all the whole gist of it, but because again, I'm not an attorney, so I don't want to dive too deep into it. But it's just stuff that y'all really need to look into. So in Georgia, they have a thing called petition for years of support. Is a probate court proceeding that requests a portion of a descendant's person's estate be set aside for the benefit of their surviving spouse and or minor children. The surviving spouse must file the petition within 2 years of the death, and it must be filed in the county where the deceased resided. Here are some things to know about petitions for years of support in Georgia, because again, this is Georgia. See what your state might have in regards to something similar. They may or may not have this. The eligibility. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. I'm like tripping on my words. Eligibility. The surviving spouse is eligible unless they remarried after death. A minor child's parent, legal guardian, or a guardian in litem can file on their behalf. Purpose. The purpose is to provide the surviving family with an amount of money or property before creditors, heirs, or beneficiaries of the will. The amount is usually equal to 1 year of the family's standard living. The process, the court will review the petition, and any objections may hold a hearing to determine the amount. If no objections are filed, the petition may be granted without a hearing. It says benefits. Filing a petition for years of support can allow the family to take control of the assets before debits are paid and to claim real estate without ad valorem taxes in the year of the death or the following year. So that is years of support. So those are other things to kind of look into when it comes to the whole probate process. Yeah, I think that's about all, you guys. I know, like I said, I didn't dive too deep into everything because again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a probate attorney. I'm not a estate plan attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm a realtor. But I just dived into these topics tonight again because it's based around all these topics. They're all based around real estate. So you're going to encounter something in regards to this when it comes to you owning real estate, and when someone passes away from said and have real estate, and if they're giving it to you, I tell people, if you have a spouse and you guys own a house. And I know some people are like, I don't want to go on the deed because I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z going forward, purchase another property. I don't want that to come up as debt to income ratio, blah, blah, blah. I would say sometimes it may or may not benefit you to do so. However, you don't want because every state is different. You don't want to be in a situation where a person passes away, you're not on the deed, and then you have to go through this whole process of probate, even though, like I said, typically most times if you're married to the person, if you're a spouse to the person, it will typically transfer depending on like the state and everything. But you always just want to put yourself in a better position. My mom has been one of, what do you mean as far as that? My mom has been one of, what has your mom been one of? An executrix? Is that what you're saying? What do you say, Lang? I'm sorry, let me see. She said, the information was so rich. Thanks so much for sharing. No problem. You are welcome. But all right, you guys, let me jump off here tonight. I kept you guys longer than an hour. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know we had people come and go. It's up to you how much you want this information. No one can give you information unless you want to acquire it yourself. all we can do, like I said, on YouTube, on Google, or everywhere, we can put it out there. It's going to be up to you if you want to read it or if you want to absorb it, right? But I appreciate everybody who joined tonight. Again, my name is Devon Clark, or if you can call me Clark the Realtor. I am a local realtor in the Metro Atlanta area. If you have any questions around real estate, you just want to talk to me about real estate. If you're looking for a realtor to help you where you currently live at, I can also refer you to a realtor in your area. There's no charge to do so. And I will make sure I put you in the bet. I will make sure I put you with a great realtor in your state, in your city, to help you get through the process, because before they get to you, they will have to be interviewed by me, and we're going to make sure we vet them accordingly. All right. So nonetheless, have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys back next Sunday. So I decided that I'm just going to do these lives on Sunday. I did it on Thursday. No one really showed up. So I'm going to do it Sundays at 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. or go a little later if we have great conversation. And I thank you guys again for joining me. Have a wonderful night. Take care. Bye-bye.